Here we are back in Fallout 4. Last time, I totally don't remember what we were doing last time. Oh wait, we finished the mission Conquered.
Last time, we miraculously beat the Deathclaw with Smegdorf, the goddamn badass.
Right.
So we finished it. We beat the Deathclaw, and now we're about to go ahead and head out with Mr. Garvey, along with the settlers that were in the church, or whatever. Oh, the museum or whatever building that was. So we're about to go take them to a settlement, and that's where 95% of the game actually begins.
Oh, yeah.
Because, again, this is why this is probably not the best game to start with. You'll just be bombarded by notifications from Garvey saying, hey, there's a settlement that needs some protection.
So I've heard.
You should go over there and check it out. After all, you made a blood oath. You're a Minuteman now.
Uh-oh. Change profile. Gabe's not playing.
Oh, okay. Sorry for this little technical glitch.
Nah, it's totally fine.
So, you know, I feel like we really kind of focus a bit too much on ourselves here. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, how are you guys doing? Have you guys played Fallout 4 before?
Have you lost weight? You look like you've lost weight.
Are you still in a relationship with that one dude?
Dude, you need to get out. Like, Greg, I wouldn't say this to Greg's face because I try to maintain good relations with Greg, but, you know, he can be a bit of a dick, and I think he kind of uses you. So
you deserve better.
Yeah, I mean, you do deserve better, and I think on balance, Greg is a nice guy and all. It's just, you know,
you can do so much better.
You two just aren't meant for each other, you know? Like, you know, I know you think you love each other, but you're 13, for God's sake.
13.
And Greg is 22.
Oh, Jesus.
I mean, you know, I'm sure the thrill was fun, but you just gotta wake up. Or, you know, you'll regret it. Just give him back the engagement ring. You don't need that in your life. Have some respect for yourself. But you do look good. I really think you lost weight. You'll have to tell me your secret.
It feels like it's been a while since I've actually sat down through a loading screen that long.
Yeah, welcome to Fallout 4. Or welcome to any Bethesda game for that matter. Alright, well anyway. Here we are. It's just
for a while anyway.
Wait, he just kind of paused in between.
When we first met, you asked about
he's got a bit of Shatner syndrome.
One thing you should know about us, we help out our friends.
Who does he look like? He reminds
me
me of some actor. I don't know. If you've ever seen Love Actually, he looks like the cameraman in the porn scenes for that movie. If you know his name, go ahead and, I don't know, PM me or leave a comment in the comment section if you know who he is.
Mama Murphy's had a vision of a place called Sanctuary.
Yeah, vision, whatever.
It's an old neighborhood, but one we can make new again. Why don't you come with me?
Did you lose yet?
I could really use your help.
And 5 seconds in, already done.
What would I need to do?
Oh, no, you don't want to open that can of worms. You need to stay strong. You need to constantly build things for these people's whiny, goddamn, I can't speak English. Anyway, they're gonna ask you to build all sorts of stuff, like beds, furniture, fences, turrets. I mean, you don't have to. At least I don't think. I still haven't gotten very far in the game.
Oh, yeah?
But
I think it might be vital for you to, just stay ahead of me when playing the game. Just so, if I get lost, you can just help me, come back to,
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm still ahead of this part in my own playthrough, but I've never gotten to a point where I needed to actually go and do stuff for my settlement. Or anything that has any sort of lasting impact. I mean, for the sake of this playthrough, we can probably ignore settlements unless you guys really want a video. Or unless you guys want another Minecraft Let's Play with prettier graphics, then we can do the settlements. But otherwise, we could probably just focus on the main quest.
Okay.
Or barring that, just kind of dig around.
What's in Diamond City? Is Sean there?
I really don't have much of
She doesn't even know who the fuck Sean is.
Maybe you'll bring me some chems later. The site
They did great with the motion tracking.
Yeah.
Face tracking, yeah.
Yeah, for once, characters in the Bethesda game actually look like human beings. Which, I don't know. I mean, as much as an improvement as that is, there's just I don't know. I just miss the stoic, uncanny faces
Yeah.
of, like, especially Oblivion characters. The facial expressions on Oblivion characters are always priceless.
It's not far.
There's just something in their eyes, I think.
Maybe they're just born with it. Maybe it's me.
It can hardly
I still need to figure out if there's any way to actually give a name to your
We're all
dog.
in this together, right? So Mars.
If anyone watching this knows how to give a name... Wait, oh, okay.
It's just dog meat.
I guess he has a name now. Well, if anyone knows how to change it, after you're done calling me names for not knowing how to change the dog's name in the comment section, go ahead and tell us how to do it, if there's a way.
I'm towering over these people. It feels
Well-
like you back in Japan.
Yeah, seriously. Oh man, I don't know if I
you
told
want-
this.
Yeah, you want to tell the story for just people who don't know?
Oh yeah, I mean I don't know if I mentioned it in a podcast, but
Oh, you did, but you know, just like for people who just don't watch the podcast because like
Yeah.
what's wrong with them? But
for those of you who rightfully think that our podcasts are boring, not worth watching, when I was in Japan, you usually don't want to say, oh, I expect these stereotypes, or you don't want stereotypes to be true. But when I was in Tokyo, like, Tokyo just is a stereotype of itself. Like, I can't really attest for places outside of Tokyo, but Tokyo proper is an anime. Like, all of the tropes are there. I was just this tall gaijin towering over everybody. When I was on the subway, especially during rush hour when the trains were packed, my head literally just peeked out over this sea of heads. And, like, I swear to God, I saw a schoolgirl in a high school uniform running with toast in her mouth, like she was late for school.
Oh my
I
God.
didn't think I'd actually see that, but there it was.
would you say when you were looking over that like sea of heads, would you happen to call it like the Black Sea?
Yeah. Except for, all the youngsters in Tokyo all have, like, their hair dyed different colors, and it's usually bleach, so you'll usually find a lot of people with blonde hair, silver hair, and, like, pastel pink hair.
Huh.
Like, whenever I went to any drugstore, I mean, I've never seen pastel hair dye until I went to Tokyo. I mean, people always tell me it doesn't work, and I mean, I'm sure for the most part it doesn't, but that just doesn't explain all the pastel pink hair I saw when I was in Tokyo.
It really came out of there. Man, I've not actually been outside of the country at all.
Yeah, neither have I until I studied abroad.
How's the transition to like a new country with a different language? Granted, you've learned about the language, so you must have
Yeah.
been comfortable in that sense, but
I mean, even after 3 years of studying the language, when I first got there, it's very much a shock thinking, oh, I have to do these what are usually very mundane tasks in another language that I'm just not used to speaking casually. For example, when I went to go order food for the first time, when I was basically fresh off the boat in Japan, I'm like, oh, okay, I know the protocol for this. I know exactly what to say. But at the same time, you're like, I'm not quite sure what to do. So I'm just awkwardly ordering. And I'll never forget, like, just this blank stare I had when she asked me if I wanted it for here to go. And at the time, I'm like, wait, what did she say? I was not trained for this. I'm not ready for this. Luckily, I had a Japanese friend with me, and he's like, okay, mochikairi means, do you want to take it to go? I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
okay.
But after that, after you've, ordered food once, or just had, like, a conversation with a friend or someone in your host family, it really just kind of takes off from there, as long as you have some sort of familiarity with the language.
Okay. Have you actually went to like a more American-based like restaurant over there in Japan?
Yeah, I did maybe halfway through, because up until that point, all I wanted to do was do Japanese things and eat Japanese food. But after a while, you just, you can't help it. You just get homesick and you just want your, like, home cuisine. Unfortunately, I didn't have many opportunities to do that in Japan. but they did have some familiar restaurants. For those of you who live in California, I did manage to find a Coco's in Akiba.
Wow.
So that got me really psyched, although, because I was with a bunch of Oregon students, no one knew what Coco's was, but I showed them the magic that was Coco's. Unfortunately, they did not have a bakery. It was just like a family restaurant, so I couldn't get pies, which was sad, but c'est la vie. Denny's was an interesting experience, though.
Oh, yeah?
Because it wasn't... Because, you know, Denny's is the quintessential American diner, but in Tokyo, it's the quintessential Japanese diner, where it's all Japanese food instead of American food.
That's cool.
I mean, it's bad Japanese food, but I mean, Denny's is bad American food, so I guess that makes sense. The other place... Oh, we went to Hooters in Shinjuku, and there's a really weird circumstance behind that, because it's not like I just went with friends. I went with my friend's host parents, because my friend's host dad, who is like 65, his host mom thought, oh, her husband's feeling a little down, so she wanted to cheer up her husband by taking him and myself and my friend to Hooters to help cheer him up. So I don't really know what to think about that, but it was actually kind of a creepy experience because all of the waitresses were very small, wearing very tight clothing, and it almost looked like they were 14, maybe younger. So that was a little uncomfortable.
I used to like living here.
But
Before the war?
when in Japan, I suppose.
Are you saying?
Oh, and then TGI Fridays, which is basically the same, except more expensive.
I lived here over 200 years ago. I was frozen or something for most of it.
So, how did you spend most of your like time over there in Japan?
In Akiba.
Like one of those
Because I was a student, I was able to get a commuter pass, which allowed me to go from the station that I lived closest to the station by my university for free. And any station that I stopped off along the way, or any train that I had to change to along the way, I could transfer for free, or I could get off that station for free. So one of the stations that I could get off for free was the station called Yushima, which is like a block away from Akihabara. So I was able to go there for free anytime I wanted. So I just spent there, and I spent so much time and money just playing at arcades and looking at like figurine shops and game stores.
Are those plentiful there?
Oh god, yes. Bookstores. I bought way too many books that I could barely read with me. Luckily, actually, if for anyone out there who is just starting to learn Japanese or wants to go and start learning Japanese, reading manga in Japanese is a good way to kind of start, or a good way to help transition from, you know, beginning to learn Japanese to kind of becoming proficient in Japanese. Because even if you don't have a very large vocabulary or a very good command over the language in general, luckily the pictures and scenes in manga give a lot of context to what's going on, and reading isn't as hard as trying to listen to Japanese, mainly because there are several different like Japanese dialects, different styles of speaking, and when you try to watch anime or when you try to watch drama, they always speak very quickly and usually very casually, and it's hard to pick up on the subtle nuances with speech because like more feminine patterns of speech, more masculine patterns of speech do differ a lot in Japanese. And it's a lot easier to pick up on those when you read them because you can actually see the differences. You can actually take your time and digest it in front of you, but you still have the context because the scenes and the pictures are there. So if you're learning Japanese and you haven't started reading Japanese manga yet, I would definitely recommend it. I feel like reading manga has vastly improved both my reading and writing skills, and it's a really good way to learn kanji and expand your kanji vocabulary. So yeah, do that. However many of you who A, watch this, and B, want to start learning a second language, as long as that second language is Japanese. Although, I'm sure that same thing applies to pretty much any language you learn. Reading comics in that language is probably one of the best ways to help increase your vocabulary and just increase your reading and writing skills.